The New York Times recently did a look inside of the Trump administration's National Security Council, and what they found is that it is deeply dysfunctional. And of course, this doesn't come directly from the New York Times. They just wrote about it. Where the information comes from is actually people who had worked inside, current and former employees or members of the National Security Council. So that's where the information is coming from. Of course, you've got more anonymous leaks. Now, part of the article deals with Michael Flynn, who actually might be on his way out. Now, the article notes that the National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn, has hunkered down since investigations began looking into what he told the Russian ambassador to the United States about the lifting of sanctions imposed in the last days of the Obama administration. Now, again, that might be a bit of a conflict of interest, a bit of a problem here. Now, it also notes whether or not he misled Vice President Mike Pence about the about the context of those conversations, about what he actually said. So that's interesting. Now, the New York Times notes that his survival on the job may hang in the balance. So, although Mr. Trump suggested to reporters aboard Air Force One on Friday that he was unaware of the latest questions swirling around Mr. Flynn's dealings with Russia, aides said over the weekend in Florida, where Mr. Flynn accompanied the president and Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, that Mr. Trump was closely monitoring the reaction to Mr. Flynn's conversations. There are transcripts of a conversation and at least one phone call recorded by American intelligence agencies that wiretap foreign diplomats, which may determine Mr. Flynn's future. So, look, again, there's all sorts of questions going on with Michael Flynn. And so, look, it looks like this guy might be on the way out. Now, the other part of that is that Donald Trump is watching his own team. He's micromanaging, and it said something in a Politico article that we covered last Friday, where Trump, when you get into trouble with Mr. Trump, he micromanages you. He watches the things that you're doing. So right now he's watching both Sean Spicer and Michael Flynn. Now, the Times notes that some of his staff members, in response to being watched or the possibility of being watched, notes that some members have turned to encrypted communications to talk with their colleagues after hearing Mr. Trump's top advisors are considering, quote, an insider threat program that could result in monitoring cell phones and emails for leaks. So, yeah. Again, so far seems kind of dysfunctional based on what we know. Now, again, this coincides with that piece I did on Friday from Politico, showing a visibly tired staff that is essentially paranoid and sits and fights over favor for with Trump. I didn't mess that up. It was that guy. It was Bob. Bob screwed up. So I'm the one that you should not punish for this happening. Or Sean messed up. So look, they're jockeying, they're fighting for position. Now, some of that is, of course, politics, right? Now, there's other stuff in this that is not quite politics. It actually stretches beyond what is normal when you have a new administration coming in. Now, the article notes that what is happening under the Trump White House is different than any other administration. And not just because of Mr. Trump's Twitter foreign policy. The Times notes, two officials said that at one recent meeting, there was talk of feeding suggested Twitter posts to the president so the council staff would have greater influence. Fascinating. And look, they have to do that because the guy doesn't want to do his briefings. What he does when he's there is that he signs executive orders, he watches TV, and then tweets. But you know what? Hey, that's okay because...
You know, I'm like a smart person.
He's a smart person. He's a smart person. Now, again, this information comes from current and former staff. Now, they do not want to be named for fear of reprisals. Again, this is something that's consistent with the Trump administration. Because if anybody crosses him or anybody goes behind his back, well, there's hell to pay. You go and talk to the press and he knows about it, you're done. Now, there are some of the staff that worked on the National Security Council that were uncomfortable working under Donald Trump, so they left. They went back to their old they went back to their old jobs, essentially. Now, because of that, well, there's a lot less people there. There's actually a big giant hole in the staff, and they don't have enough experienced people there. Again, leading to more dysfunction. Now, many of those who remain, who see themselves as apolitical civil servants, they say have been disturbed by displays of overt partisanship. Now, for example, at an all-hands meeting about 2 weeks into the new administration, Katie McFarland, the Deputy National Security Advisor, told the group that it needed to, quote, make America great again. Of course, that is Donald Trump's his slogan that he ran in his campaign. Okay, well, shouldn't you be making America great again? Shouldn't that be what you're doing instead of talking about it? I mean, you're in power now, so do it. Now, new Trump appointees are now carrying coffee mugs with that same campaign slogan into meetings with foreign counterparts, which is a little weird. It's like blatant commercialism. But see, it kind of makes sense. Again, we know who we're dealing with. Donald Trump loves this sort of blatant commercialism. He loves to see his name everywhere. So obviously, and I don't know if this is an edict from on high, or from one of his advisors that are like, hey, Trump likes to see his name on things, so let's put his name on everything. Even going into meetings, let's use Trump cups. It'll be great. Trust me, it'll be tremendous. And by the way, that is kind of a great way of telling who the true team players are. I mean, you can tell by outward displays of loyalty to the Donald Trump brand, because that's essentially what it is. See, Donald Trump's not just a person, he's pretty much a corporation. We have a corporation running the White House. Everything he does for the benefit of his own family brand. And so if you're not a company man, if you're not showing up with your Make America Great Again mug or hat, well, then you got to go, man. You're out of there. So, of course, everybody has it because they don't want to lose their job. But it is deeply disturbing. Now, in the article, it also notes that nervous staff members recently met late at a bar a few blocks from the White House and had talked about purging their social media accounts of any suggestion of anti-Trump sentiments. Again, that's a little scary. Now, there is one piece in here that is actually kind of fun. Now, it's how Trump likes his meetings. Now, it says Ms. McFarland also often draws on her television experience to make clear to officials that they need to make their points in council meetings quickly, and she signals when to wrap up. Now, of course, that's because Donald Trump doesn't have an attention span. He can't sit more than 5 minutes without paying attention to something else, without picking up his phone and wanting to tweet. No, Mr. Trump, you got to pay attention to this, okay? But I'm bored. I want to watch Fox News. Come on, I want to see what they're saying about me on CNN. You know he watches it. You know he watches Saturday Night Live. Of course he does. He can't help himself. So, of course, he doesn't want to sit in these boring meetings where they discuss policy. In fact, it said that while Mr. Obama liked policy option papers that were 3 to 6 single-spaced pages. That's a lot of information, right? Council and staff members are now being told to keep papers to a single page with lots of graphics and maps. One official said, quote, "The president likes maps." Now, you go from 3 to 6 detailed pages of policy to 1 page filled with maps and graphics. Hey, look, I've been hearing that Donald Trump kind of has a hard time reading. I don't know if that has to do anything with it, but it could. I'm just saying. Look, why not just go the extra step and make a pop-up book like you would give to a little kid? Here you go, Donald. Here's a pop-up book. Oh, man. Obama has details. Trump wants a picture book. And look, this would be incredibly comical if it weren't the most powerful man in the world. He's a step away from the nukes. Oh. And look, everything else, this administration is a bit of a disaster. And look, I do have to note that a lot of administrations do go through rocky starts. Sure. And we'll give that, we'll give that consideration as well. But seriously, they really don't have their shit together. This right now is the most inept authoritarian disaster of a presidency that we've seen, and it's only been a month. I'm starting to think that he's not going to last 4 years. And look, wait until the Republican Party turns on him. You don't think it will happen? It's becoming more and more likely every day. That's my opinion. Hear me now, quote me later. But we'll see, man. Only time will tell. Disaster. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.